Did Dejan play?
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
How come you not?
Welcome back. You guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Alrighty, today we have a special pop-up podcast for you guys. You know, we usually go live on Wednesdays. Today, of course, is Sunday. And we have, what do they call it? Sunday Fun Days, right?
Sunday Fun Day.
Yeah. So we have a couple of great guys with us today from Florida TNT. And we're going to get into the TBT tournament that's coming up really soon here. Of course, you guys can catch that on ESPN and all of those family of networks there. And we're going to talk about the team that they have coming in, all right, to this tournament season here and all of that great stuff, the chance to win $1 million. why it keeps going from 2 million to 1 million, 1 million back to, I don't know. So we'll talk about all of that good stuff because we need all our money here, man. You know, and we also we have some other sports related stuff we're going to get to today. I didn't even let these guys know, but we're going to get into some NBA Summer League. We're going to get into some NBA offseason stuff. See if these guys have any strong comments or takes about what's going on in the world of basketball. All right. So what's going on, guys? I have so many questions. So we have Iron here. Who we've actually had on the show. We had on Iron's on the radio show, right?
Back at Rollins.
Back when we not too much back in the day.
Don't want to put too much age on us.
Yeah, don't put too much age on us. But yeah, when we was in the radio, man, before they kicked us off the radio, Iron was there. And then here, what's your name? Terry
Hughes.
Terry Hughes. And what do you do, Terry?
I'm the GM for Florida TNT.
You're
but
the GM.
That name has changed.
I was going to ask you about that. You guys have been in the tournament event before, known as Florida TNT.
Yes.
And this season, you have kind of a new name coming into the event.
Yep. Yes.
Explain the new name and how it got that way.
Well, Iron ran into the GM of Challenge ALS, who's another team that has been in the TBT for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And they seem to hit it off pretty good.
Okay.
And somehow the subject came up of us combining. So, like any smart business people would do, when somebody wants to talk business, you listen.
Sure.
The more we talk, the more it made sense.
Good deal. Yeah. What So what is the official name going into this year's event?
The official name this year is Challenge ALS Florida.
Okay.
But people will call you guys what, Florida ALS? Is that because that's what I've been seeing?
I don't know what you'll
It's
call
tricky.
it. I don't know what
whatever's
you'll call
comfortable.
us. Whatever you feel like calling us. As long as we get that check at the end.
That's all that matters.
That's it.
Now, speaking of that, you guys have been in this for a while, and you've come pretty close, but it's still out there to get.
Right.
How many years have y'all competed in the tournament now, and give us a little bit of history of your last couple performances?
We've been in the tournament now 4 years, I believe it is. Yeah, 4 years, because we did not get in the COVID.
The funky COVID year.
Yeah,
that's
got
right.
real weird.
Yeah, we didn't get in that year. So we've actually been in there 4 years. Nobody has actually said it, but I'm sure we have one of the better records percentage-wise in TBT, because we're above 70%.
Oh man!
And
yeah,
there's not a lot of teams doing that.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I kind of wanted to get into, because I know you guys reached the final or the final four.
Final four.
Yeah,
Final
we
four.
Made the final four, yes.
Okay, but you've never gone out early. You've always got a couple rounds in.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And last year was Final Four appearance, or?
Yeah, last year was the Final 8 appearance.
Okay.
The year before was Final Four.
Correct. Okay.
And have both of you guys been associated with the team since the first run? Since the first?
He has.
Yeah.
He has. I came on board.
Iron came on the second year.
Yep.
The second year.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what has there been a big difference in the competition level from the beginning till now, as far as the level of guys that's coming into this tournament?
Well,
I think so.
Some people say so.
Yeah, I think so.
There's been a bigger difference in the quality of our team.
Okay.
Our team seems to get better and better with more talented players each year. So as far as the other teams are concerned, I'm not really that concerned with what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're getting better, so that's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I think the tournament's become a lot more popular over the years. So I think each year the competition level has risen just based on the popularity. Guys seeing it on ESPN, guys want to be a part of it. You got guys that are at the end of their career saying, hey, I want to, compete, stay relevant, have a good time with maybe former teammates or guys that they're playing in the summer with, et cetera. So, I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say a pretty good chunk of the field is like college alumni-based
Absolutely.
teams.
Yep.
and there are some teams for a good cause.
Yep.
And you guys are falling that category now.
Right.
But I always kind of laughed to myself that you guys were kind of the outlaws of the event.
Of course.
You weren't
Of
like a
course.
college alumni team.
Right.
You weren't in it necessarily for a good cause.
Yeah.
But you were just repping our state and doing a great job of it.
We're definitely not one of the favorites.
And that's the thing. We were initially in it just to represent Florida. People think that Florida is just a football state, and for all intents and purposes, it is. But guys here can hoop too.
Right.
Yeah. Don't sleep on our
Guys here
basketball.
can hoop too, and our game seems to translate all over the United States because we play a more physical brand of basketball here in Florida. A lot of guys out west have a different style than up north, but physicality translates everywhere.
Yeah.
And
It's funny you say that. While I got Keith Clinton highlights rolling on. Speaking of physicality, right?
yes,
The big load.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you say that the quality of your teams have gotten better each year, but it hasn't been. You guys don't do like a big makeover every year. I mean,
No.
this year might be the most guys you've changed since you've been in the tournament, right?
Yeah, for
In
sure.
any
much,
one
yes.
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one cycle.
For sure.
Yes.
So what led into that? And also I think we heard you guys are kind of getting players from that ALS team that was in the tournament last year.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Well, when we combined with ALS, they only wanted to bring with them 3 players.
Okay.
oh, okay.
And of the 3 players, I knew 2 of their players were my 2 choices.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was like,
They're pretty
hey,
good.
he says, I got 3 guys I want to bring with me. And I'm like, okay, Deshaun Stevens. Yes. I was like, and Marvell Harris. Like, yes. Okay. And I was
Sounds
like,
good.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, who's the 3rd guy? And they said his name was Selim Mwab.
Yeah.
African
His
name?
name's Selim.
Okay. Okay.
He's like a 6'10" defensive rebounding shot blocking type
Which
of
we
guy.
need.
And
For
I was
sure.
like, yes,
Right.
that's good.
Now, again, you've been in it. You've had kind of like, to my understanding, the core group involves like Keith, Chris Warren,
Of course.
Kenny Boynton. They've been there for a while. Brandon Robinson's been a part of it for a while. If I'm excluding anybody, please mention their name.
That's it.
But from that, kind of like, what do you? And Aaron, you're like the coach of this. What are you looking for in terms of a piece that you might want to add to the team? And I know you got your group this forward.
Of
But
course.
what qualities are you looking for that you think is going to be a good match with what you already have?
Honestly, we're looking for guys that aren't heroes, that want to be, system guys that fit our system, guys that will gel with our guys. I feel like we were missing someone else that could space the floor, that's a little bit younger, that can shoot the basketball, bringing on Fletcher McGee
Okay.
for that role. And I think we were missing another big that's more of like a rim runner. You can throw lobs to him,
Right.
put him in a dunker spot, a little bit more, with a little bit more pop than Keith may have, because
Right.
obviously Keith is unstoppable.
Yeah.
But sometimes he's kind of left out to dry by himself.
Yeah.
At that 4 or 5 spot. So
Yeah.
we need somebody to kind of help him out, and guys we can bring off the bench to give him some rest every now and then.
Sounds good. Now, one of the things, and I've done some coaching myself, it's like when you go into an event like this, what type of conversations do you have with guys as to what their role or their expectation might be on the roster? Are you pretty honest with guys directly, or you do kind of leave it open because maybe you don't know who's going to be a bigger factor than you think?
Of course, that's always a tough position to be in. I mean, that's something that we start with our practices. Obviously, we try to practice as much as we can before we get, into the tournament play. Having conversations with guys in private training sessions, boosting their ego as much as possible, letting them know how we feel about their game, where we want to put them when we do start playing in tournaments. And then once we get there, obviously, most of our guys are pros, so they kind of have a feel, right? But the goal is for everybody to be the best version of themselves within their particular role. And that's kind of what we do, year in and year out is put guys in roles and make sure that they're, doing the best that they can in their relative roles.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and just to elaborate that on that a little bit, we do a lot of scouting of the guys beforehand.
For sure.
So therefore, we know what they're capable of before they get to practice.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of conversations amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is we try to have guys play your game. You know what your game is right now. Don't try to go outside of yourself and do too much, or don't take a step back and limit yourself.
Right.
Because when we put you in the game, we expect you to be you.
That's what we scouted, and that's what we expect.
That's what we expect.
Yeah. That's a good point. And Bubba and I were kind of talking a little bit, like, my sense of things is when a guy is a pro, he definitely has a good understanding of what he is and what he does.
Right.
A lot of times when guys aren't necessarily pros but have talent, one of the biggest issues for me is they don't even understand what they are on the court.
Of course.
And I think that's a big challenge for a big divide for guys to get over to actually become pros.
Right, of course. Of course.
And I know you train high level guys. Right. I mean, if you could elaborate on that, please do.
Yeah, for sure. That's always a tough spot because basketball obviously is an egotistical game, right? And we're men and we're competing, and so everybody wants to feel like we're better than what we are, right? So it's tough sometimes when you have to tell guys like, yeah, you're okay at this, but you're great at that. And so we just want you to be great at that. And I think once their awareness changes, they look a lot better, and they end up playing at higher levels. There's a bunch of guys right now that are super talented, but aren't in the NBA just based on not being able to accept that and accept roles and accept their limitations. Yeah. And, there would be a lot more people that would be making it if they were to be more aware and accept, their strengths and their limitations. So.
Got it. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so with that, because you guys are saying, I know you're saying you're the GM, and apparently I know you guys, you're saying you guys watching a lot of tape, a lot of film, so you guys probably connect and talk about different guys you may want to bring onto the team or for whatever. Are there right? And being that you guys, representing Florida, things like that, are there a lot of guys that come to you that want to play for this team, want to be on TV?
Don't even get me started on
that. What is your response? And just how many people?
Thank you.
Just how many guys is it really?
Terry's nicer than me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Terry plays the role a little bit better. I've learned over the years. There's a lot of people locally that might say, "Man, I don't mess with Iron, man. That's some of the reason why. Because I'm very authentic,
Yeah.
But I like it. I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
They just may not be a good fit for what we're trying to do, or they may not be as good as they think they are, and it's tough. Nobody wants to know the truth, right? Nobody wants authenticity. And when you're authentic with guys, it kind of causes them to resent you. But, yeah, my DMs blow up all the time, with guys saying, "Man, let me know about the open run."
Yeah.
First of all, man, you getting 10 in the local men's league at the JCC. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just stop right there. You're talking about the TBT, man. It's not like what you see.
That's true. That's true.
Then you see dudes posting highlights of them, like maybe playing against one of our guys or like somebody that I train who's just in the open gym, not playing hard at all.
Right.
Make a reel, they make a reel about it, and they're like, "Man, see, I told you." Like, man, stop, man.
And
let it go.
That's another thing too.
That's a real thing, man. Social media is.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But like the point you made it to another, like a very good player could just be playing in a run, and they're not necessarily going hard.
No.
And like, okay, you make a play on them, like you ain't making that same play when it matters.
I was just gonna say a high leverage moment, like when it really matters, just like what you just said. That makes a big difference.
Yeah. If you think it's gonna be like that when it's game point or for the money in the TBT, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the reasons it's hard to bring on guys that you don't know,
right?
And we don't know, because I call people all the time about guys that I don't know to try and get a feel for them before I can get them in the gym.
Right.
Yeah. Because I just this last tournament, we tried to put a couple of guys on a team, so we can get a look at them.
Yeah.
In these high leverage moments, and it's different.
Right.
They don't. People don't understand it, but it is different when you get in these high leverage moments.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally different. The difference between LA Fitness and then playing in, a 5K money tournament and then a 50K money tournament. And then there's the TBT. Like the TBT is unlike any of those.
Right. It's pretty much the
it's-
highest level of that,
Yes.
that you're
You
going to
got
have.
you got pros playing.
Yeah.
Guys that have a great feel, guys that are aware, guys that understand, the clock, time, space, situation. It's not just running up and down playing hard.
Yeah.
It's about playing with intent and with a purpose and understanding what the hell is going on. So
I love that.
it's a little different.
It is different.
Yeah.
This year's journey, where do you guys open play? Who do you play against? What are we looking at?
We're in West Virginia first.
West
So,
Virginia?
I don't know who we
Yes.
play.
We play our first game against the Georgetown alumni.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And what's the day of that game? And do you know the time?
July 25th is the first day, and I believe it's either 12 or 1 o'clock we play,
Okay.
and it's on one of the
ESPN family of channels.
Yes.
Okay.
They got about 62 of them.
Yeah, it was funny back with the dodgeball movie when they referred to the Ocho. But
Right.
they've legitimately
Yeah.
got more than that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Do you guys feel comfortable maybe discussing some of the other names that you guys were thinking about for this team
That aren't on board or that actually are?
that were in the mix?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What
You know,
You feel comfortable discussing it?
Yeah.
Terry, don't do it, Terry.
No.
Terry.
No. There's a few guys like.
Terry.
I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody.
No, I'm just saying, but you gotta.
Okay. There's guys that are not on the team because they can't be here.
Right,
Okay.
that too.
Drew Smith is one of them. He's played with us in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Drew was one of our main guys, and he's not able to be here this year because he's got a job in Germany.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. He was in Germany. He's now in Mexico.
Okay.
So he's one of the guys that can't be here. There's people that can't be here for health reasons.
Right, that too.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not.
But that's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can discuss that.
We're not going to talk about the guys that Aaron just didn't like.
That's not true. That's not true.
But I was gonna.
If anybody watching this, that's not true.
But I was gonna say though, like sometimes it's you might need that player down the road. Like
Yes.
he might be a younger guy that's maybe not quite
Yeah.
ready. So you don't necessarily need to put names out there and create feelings where
Yeah.
they don't have to have.
And the big thing is that's the one thing I always think about. Even though Joey may not be good enough right now.
Who the hell is Joey?
I'm
You
following
ain't told me about him.
I got you what you're putting down.
Hypothetical
Joey
Joey.
bring up a player in a
Even
minute,
though
boy.
Joey may
He
not
might
be
be
good
dead
enough
serious
today.
about Joey.
He might be dancing.
Yeah.
Joey may
Send me
not
a-
be good enough today, but you can see Joey's got potential.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you see, we may be able to use Joey in a couple years.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Or we may be super loaded at a position today. And Jimmy over here is at that same position. And Jimmy's capable of playing, but because we're super loaded, we can't take Jimmy this year.
Right.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
So
And to be perfectly fair, and I love your core guys, but like they're not the youngest guys in the tournament
not.
anymore.
They're not.
And there has to be some concept of an expiration
Of
date on
course.
some of those guys, and
Yeah.
and having to have some options, younger and going forward for sure.
That's definitely something we discuss
Yeah.
as of late. So,
Yeah.
all the time.
yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you guys plan on making this, sort of franchising this out. You guys plan to be a part of the tournament every time they're going to have the tournament
We plan on winning it
Yes.
and
and defending
taking
your
it
crown.
from there.
Yeah.
taking it from there. We plan
Okay.
on winning it and then, taking it from there. So,
That part.
that
Yeah.
part.
What if anything do you know about the Georgetown alumni team at this point?
They're tough.
they
Okay.
are.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Do you know who's on the roster yet, or is there
Yes.
no official disclosure date on that?
Yes.
There is a disclosure.
No, we know who's on their roster
Okay.
as of now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can still add people. But
Now y'all play on the 25th. Is there like a drop dead cut, like where like there's a certain day where you can't add or change people after that day?
Yeah.
What's that? When is
I
that?
believe it's either 3 or 4 days before the game.
Okay, so everything
either
be
3 or
locked in
4
at that
days.
point, and
Yes.
everybody's who they are.
Yes.
Okay. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Well, we certainly wish you guys luck. I've tried to watch every game you guys are involved in, and really would love to see you guys win it this year for
Thank
sure.
you. It means
No,
a ton,
that's
man.
for sure, man. That's for sure. What? So what is the change that you guys made that you think is gonna give bring on better
Put you
luck?
over the top this year.
Put you over the top this year. What is?
Struck a nerve, Bubba.
We just like the group that we have now. We think
Yeah.
we think we put ourselves in a better position to win now with the group that we established at this point.
Yeah, and bringing on Challenge ALS, they have one guy, Deshaun Stevens, who's a 6'8", 6'9" big.
Game changer.
Yeah.
He now gives us somebody to give Keith some help.
Right.
Right. Right.
He's a game changer.
And the guard.
Yeah, and Harris also. Harris
Yeah.
is
Tough.
yes. I got phone calls from guys here in Orlando when they saw his name and they were like, "You guys picked him. You guys picked him." I'm like, "Yeah, we got him."
That's pretty
Oh, yeah.
satisfying to hear, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you know you got the right guy and everyone
course.
else knows it too.
Yeah, and they, I got 2 phone calls from, you can get phone calls from just about everybody, but I got 2 phone calls from guys that I respect their word a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then we got guys like, Chris and Kenny, and like you all said, they are getting old. They're not old, but they are getting older.
Yeah.
And we got to be able to give them minutes to rest.
For sure.
So that they can be more productive. We don't want to overexert them, overuse them, so that in the last game, when we need them,
Yeah, they're
they're
gassed.
not themselves. So
Yeah. How much practice time do you guys get in before your first game in the tournament?
not as much as we would like,
Yeah.
just because guys are playing in different countries.
Yeah.
Some guys are playing summer league, so it's always tough to get everybody in at once. So I
Yeah.
don't think we've ever had a practice where everybody was there.
Yeah. Well, we have when we got to the site and practiced the day.
Yeah, well, that's
Right, the day
that's
before. Yeah.
But like leading up to the tournament,
Yeah,
we
but
don't.
I'm asking that in the sense I assume you've probably already had some practices
Yeah.
like this summer building up to
Yep.
the 25th.
Mhm.
Okay, but
Then I try to get guys in individually.
yeah,
Guys that are available, I reach out to them, or they reach out to me. I try to get them in and just put them in situations that they'll be in.
yeah. Now I did want to mention you've been a high level trainer for some time. With your training work, do you only work with like high level players, or you still work with a variety of different people?
I work with a wide variety, man. I got
Okay.
a youth program right now. We got over 200 kids in program. I got like 12 youth basketball teams.
Oh wow.
I'm in the gym with them consistently at least 2 days a week. We put over, 50-something kids in college over the last, 8 years.
Wow.
So I'm still working with some of those guys that are actually in college, guys that are
Right.
preparing to go to college.
Okay.
Girls at the WNBA level on down. I got, girls that are playing in college, girls that are in high school, girls that are in middle school, etc. So, yeah, it's pretty diverse.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
I was kind of under the impression that you kind of got
Yeah,
to the boutique level.
what's crazy is a lot of people think that,
Yeah.
and it's become like a gift and a curse.
Okay.
So I like people to see the value in it. I like people to see that I'm established and to see that I'm working with high level athletes.
He
But then
doesn't- he doesn't
sometimes,
just big time anybody.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
But people automatically assume that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to him because he don't work with this person, or somebody else may tell him, hey, Iron's not going to work with you.
Cool.
When they've never really had a conversation, with me.
Yeah.
But,
if somebody wants to reach out that may be listening to this professionally, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, just DM me on IG.
Okay.
My IG is @IronRainey. Phone number is 407-627-6123. And if they're looking to, take the game up a few notches and be empowered, not just on the basketball court, but just in the life game, they can reach out and we'll help them evolve for sure.
Sounds good. And I'm glad you mentioned that the life part of this because the older I get, the more I realize the two things are connected.
Absolutely.
Like how you approach something and pour yourself into developing, that gives you a roadmap to handle everything in your life.
Right.
And I just find that people who've achieved high level things in athletics develop a mindset that is applicable across other endeavors.
Absolutely.
Because you've had to put yourself in that position, and I'm glad you mentioned that and connect the two as well.
It's a big deal.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all, podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We have Florida TNT, which in the TBT tournament will be known as the
ALS Challenge Florida.
There you go.
Say it right.
No.
Challenge ALS. You almost had it right.
Challenge ALS.
All right.
Florida.
That's right. But as long as you call them, they're all right.
Gotta
Put that
keep
Florida in,
on there.
man.
That's
Put
right.
that Florida in.
That's right.
The last piece on you that I wanted to ask was, being you're coaching the team, like, it's a tournament style. Do you find it difficult, or what parts of it are challenging? Is it sense of urgency, like, because is a double elimination?
Single.
No,
Single elimination tournament style.
Yep.
One game is over. So how does that affect your coaching and the style and what have you?
Honestly, it's intense, right? It's a lot that we demand from our players. It's a lot that our GM and the other guy who has probably the biggest role in this, he demands from me, as a coach. And I try to embrace the role as much as possible by being fully engaged in the game, watching players, watching how they respond, putting them in spots to be successful, having conversations with, them and, seeing what they see and just trying to make the best choice, possible. As I was talking to Hateri yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday, I was telling him that our goal is to get the best shot that we possibly can every single possession. I feel like that's how we're going to win games. Obviously, we're getting stops, but offensively, the goal is to get the best shot possible every single possession. And that's a big deal for me. And so that comes with strategically placing guys in situations to be successful.
And when you do that consistently, it takes the will out of another team.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, when you're consistently getting good shots,
Right.
they feel like they're not having any impact on you defensively,
Right.
and it takes away their effort.
I think one of the biggest issues with the TBT and teams, even the teams that win, a lot of times you'll see it, but there's a lot of like isolation basketball because guys forget that it is this high level. Because some guys are already getting paid, right? So they're like, we don't really need the money that much. We just want to kind of, do our thing. And I think the guys that are committed to understanding the totality of what's going on and not making it just about them, those are the guys that end up helping the teams win more by sacrificing, 5 bad shots for maybe 1 or 2, giving us extra, looks at something good and putting us in a position to win.
Yeah, and that's one of the
It's a big
things.
deal.
That's one of the things we try to make sure we not only emphasize but try to weed out in guys.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
We don't. If you're in this for you, then you're not for us.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Simple as that.
Yeah, we're in this as a team. If I could still play, and if I could be on the court, and
Could you ever play Terry?
No. Pink, I think you would have got.
I was a football.
I think you would have seen Pink play, but I think Pink would have worked there.
I was a football player.
I think Pink would have worked there.
I appreciate that.
I was a football player. I can tell you.
Okay.
Pink had 6 good hard fouls. Okay, and he was going to get all 6 of them.
Right.
I was going to hopefully try to get 8 or 9 out of it. But
A couple uncalled ones.
yes, that was it, man.
Let me ask you a tough question here, Iron.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I got something coming for you. Terry might enjoy this. No, I'm just joking. So, anytime you're coaching or playing at a high level, criticism is going to come when there's some level of failure attached to what you're doing.
Right.
So, one of these runs in the tournament, you guys were in a very important game, the game that you guys lost at the end there.
Talking about when Keith wasn't in the game.
boom. You guys got it was a lot of criticism in the city, and,
Right.
and yeah,
Right.
heads were rolling.
Right. Right.
You want to talk about that moment, and how did you react to? I'm sure you heard some feedback. I'm sure you saw some social media stuff.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I just heard it from
I did.
Terry and other.
Okay.
I did, and
I'm hardly ever on. Just for people listening, I'm hardly ever on Facebook.
Okay.
I got the thing. What is the thing? Hootsuite. Where whenever I post on IG, it goes.
It just
to
goes
Facebook.
everywhere.
Goes out,
I don't never look at that shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. I am on IG, and a lot of times people don't really say it to me.
No, yeah. And it
You
was
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's
for
more
sure.
like in their circles.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And then when I walk in the gym, they'll just like look at me and just act like they don't see me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that decision, I'm gonna be honest with you. When people aren't there, they don't really understand the totality of what's going on. Sometimes as a staff, we're in agreement with things. Sometimes as a staff, we're not. It's part of what comes with business. But for the most part, we're usually on the same page. And in that particular moment, there were some decisions made amongst ourselves that we may have probably wanted to change if we had the chance to do it over. But we don't get second chances at it.
Especially not in TBT.
And not in TBT.
Yeah.
And once again, during that same run, we had other opportunities to score as well. Had we just went ahead and scored, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But we didn't, and yeah.
And you know, we just talked about this in depth again for about the 78th time, I believe.
Just 78.
Just 78.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing that you must remember is that nobody is going to make what is considered by the masses the right decision every time.
Nobody.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nobody. As a matter of fact,
were,
let me cut you off. As a matter of fact, just to expound on that, some of the people that were having these conversations probably would want us to make this decision to put them on the team. And so if we make that decision,
or to bring them on board.
That's what I'm saying. Or to bring them on board as a coach,
In
or
some role.
and then when the masses see that happen, they're gonna criticize us for that because we know they're not ready, and we know that so.
If
part
you,
of it.
I mean, I deeply believe that if you want to coach, you can't be fearful.
No.
Because you're going to make decisions that you know you'll regret when they're right after they're made. You're going to make some decisions that are the right decision, and that something goes wrong with the execution.
Right.
And if you're too thin-skinned, if that gets in your head
Right.
and affects you beyond that moment,
Right.
you're not built for this.
Right.
And you need to
I
accept
agree.
that.
But
I agree.
Let me make this point for you. With the decisions that were made, some people say it was a bad decision. Some people say it was a good decision. The way we ran that game at the end, we were down at one point.
Right.
We ended up getting back up because of the decisions we were making.
Right.
And like he said, we had two opportunities
Right.
with the ball in our hands,
Mm-hmm.
with our best player having a chance to shoot a shot to make the basket, to win the thing for us. Okay? That was the first possession.
Right.
The very next possession, we had a chance to win the game with the ball in the hands of a guy who, if he had made that shot and we went on to win the championship, I would not doubt that he would have probably been the MVP of the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you're talking about our best player and the possible MVP of the tournament,
Right.
each with the ball in their hands
With that opportunity.
with the chance to
Right.
win. And if you said to me right now, I would have that opportunity again 5 games in,
You taking it?
I'd take it right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And for anybody that was talking about the decisions that we made, we apologize respectfully.
He apologized.
I don't really apologize. I don't give a damn what they think. I don't give a damn what they think.
Whenever something's
Hey.
done,
You know, because
At all.
I can tell you this.
Not even a little bit.
everyone out there, whether you like us or you don't like us, or you like the decision or you don't like the decision, I can guarantee you almost 99% of them would want to be sitting in
Of
our
course.
position.
For sure.
Of
100%.
Yeah.
It's rooted in
They
envy.
would want to be there.
Yeah.
So
It's rooted in envy.
Yeah, it is.
But I love it. Anytime you say something respectfully, it means you're not really saying it.
Shout out to Blu-ray, man. He's been watching and commenting.
Yeah.
what up, Blue?
Blu-ray.
He said the right decision was made in his opinion, man. So he's backing that, and he says, "What's up, fellas?" So
My
yeah,
man.
he's watching. Yeah,
That's
man.
too funny.
That's Iron
Is,
Boy.
is he going to
That's
be
my
with
guy
y'all
right
this
there.
tournament too?
Excuse me?
Is Blu-ray going to be with y'all?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Okay,
probably.
cool.
I believe so.
And where's
Gonna
the
be in the room snoring.
Nobody wants to ruin him.
Man, Blu-ray gonna get his rest. Man. Blu-ray, you still watching?
He took a nap. He's out.
Gonna get his rest.
That's funny. What, are you guys playing at like the University of West Virginia, or where's the
No,
location?
we're in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Wheeling, West
Wheeling,
Virginia.
West
Wherever
So
the hell that is.
So still rough. Still, well,
It sounds like it's in the mountains, I think.
what's the geographic from West Virginia and Georgetown? Is that
A couple of hours, I'd imagine. I don't know.
I believe it's a couple
Because
hours.
DC,
Yeah, 'cause
you gotta
DC,
gotta
they're
get
gonna have some home cooking a little
They-
bit?
they-
Yeah, a little bit.
Potentially.
Hope so.
Yeah.
You hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we thrive in those
Oh, yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time, I've never seen anybody come out the stands and make a basket.
That's true.
Right, that's a big deal.
That's true.
Never seen that. You know, when the crowd can start making baskets, then
We're in
Right.
trouble.
It's time to work.
Then you're in trouble.
You're West Virginia, man. You might have some incest there too.
And he-
I ain't touching that.
Terry got some family up there. Terry got family out there.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
My family comes from Barbados. Man.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
there's no West or Virginia. In that.
Shout out to Barbados, man.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
All right, man. All right. Let's get into some fun here a little bit, and then we're gonna come back, of course, and end it with a little more TBT talk there. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. All right. There's been some trending news in sports, in the world of sports. First of all, this show we talk about sports, music, and entertainment, but we want to talk some NBA with you guys. See if you got some opinions here. And I don't know if you guys heard this past week what Dwight Howard has kind of been on a media thing here with some podcasts and some interviews here.
Yeah.
And he was comparing his prime to Nikola Jokic right now. Of course, Nikola just won the championship with Denver Nuggets. Mm-hmm. And he said he will take prime Dwight over Nikola all day, every day. This is what one of his things was. He says, I was getting 38 and 20, 45, 18, 19, 20 rebounds, whatever. And I'm doing all of this with twos, no threes, all twos. I'm doing all of this. I'm not getting a lot of post-up attempts like Jokic. He's getting way more opportunities, and I was still just as productive or more. What you guys say? First of all, who you taking, and what do you think about the comments he's making there?
I think Dwight was a hell of a player, and what he's saying, rightfully so, is true. He didn't get the same amount of post-up attempts, and he didn't get a chance to, have the ball in his hands like that. But Dwight, let's stop. Okay, Jokic is special.
Yeah.
I think Dwight was a much better athlete than Jokic, but I think Jokic is a thinker.
Yeah.
You know, in Europe, they groom you to play basketball a little bit different. I lived in Europe for 8 years, so I kind of got a different bias. But
They didn't teach you to think.
stop, man. Stop. Not like in West Virginia.
Thinking of my sister a lot.
Yeah, I know.
When we get there, somebody's knocking on the room door. They're looking for you. Don't be saying, Terry, help me.
Help me, Terry. Help me,
Right.
Nah, player.
No, but I think Dwight has a great argument. But for me, I'm taking Jokic all day. I like players that are skilled.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I like Dwight.
Of course you do.
I like Dwight. Dwight was far superior defensively.
Yeah, better defensive player.
Definitely better defensive player.
So therefore, I don't think Jokic could do to him what he does to a lot of these guys today.
Okay.
I don't think he could do it.
I think like the unfortunate thing for Dwight Howard is really how his like post-Magic career evolved.
Right.
And I think like he's been through so many different weird situations and things. People lose sight of how good he truly was.
He was great
as a Magic player, and he was
extraordinary.
Great. You know, he took a team to the finals. You know, and there's not a lot of guys out there that do that.
Yep.
And you know, but because of a lot of the things and narratives that have been around him after he left here, it's really kind of undercut his essential claim to greatness.
Yeah.
It's kind of concealed that in a way, and it's unfortunate. But from any great competitor, I would expect him to take himself over another great player.
Of course.
That's the mentality you need. If you don't have that, you're going to be a run-of-the-mill guy.
Yep.
But I would agree with Iron in the pure basketball analysis of it. I would take Jokic. But
you know why? Because you're a basketball guy and you're a thinker.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Especially
and I'm a football player who wants to hit people. Okay.
So you take Rick Mahorn over everybody.
Right, basically.
Clothesline.
Basically. No, but just to expound a little bit about what you said, Pink, and this just for all the listeners watching. I know they don't really want to be educated, but people don't understand how imperative it is to make the right choices, the right decisions, especially when you have a brand, because people judge you based on your actions. And once you fuck your reputation up, it's tough to come back because that's all people see. And let's just be real. We live in a society where, you know, negativity is entertainment. People focus on that. They embark on negativity. So whatever you do wrong, they're going to definitely focus on, you know, all that stuff. And they're not, you know, going to give you the credit that you deserve. So unfortunately for Dwight, you know, as a basketball player, he was extraordinary, and I think still is. And I think he was actually a little more skilled than people want to give him credit for as well.
Yeah.
But mentally, I think, you know, he came in the league super early, and you know, a lot of times when you come in the league super early and you don't really have the guidance, and you're making that kind of money, and the world's telling you yes and not really holding you accountable, it's tough. You know, sometimes as a kid to always make the right decisions. And unfortunately for him, it came back to haunt him. And that's why people don't really give him, you know, the credit.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, make sure you focus on making the right choices and the right decisions, you know, in your life consistently, especially if you want people to respect you and respect your brand and believe in you and trust you, for sure.
There's a quote that always struck me. You are defined more by your decisions than your talent.
Absolutely.
And I think that really resonates in this type of situation.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's for sure. I mean, I think Dwight – see, the thing about Dwight is, like you said, he came in so early, and the skill set that he had, he could roll out of bed and do it at the top of the food chain.
Right.
Rebounding, defense, like and he just never had to really improve his game really until he got to LA.
Yep.
And, you know, once you have your first major injury, your athleticism declines a little bit, even though you're still a fairly younger player. Once that athleticism dips a couple of notches, you got to figure something else out. Right. You know, from a skill level, right?
And a lot of it's not his fault because, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, over here in America, we allow players like Dwight Howard at an early age to get away with just being okay. Mm-hmm. As long as they have, you know, good size and athleticism and we can utilize them to win, we allow them to be mediocre and don't really hold them accountable because we get something out of it as coaches, as directors. And you see it in travel basketball all the time where guys are extremely dominant at a certain level, but then they can't really, you know, break through that threshold. And if you notice, the game is changing.
Yeah. I want to circle back to a point you made about your time in Europe, but I tend to have this feeling that a lot of times the development of American players, you become like a star too quickly, and you're not, again, as long as the wins are coming, you're not pushed to expand until you get to a level where it's almost required. Right. And some guys aren't equipped to do that. And I mean, one of my favorite guys is Giannis, and I'm not saying that he's perfectly skilled player, but like when he came from Greece, it's like he had this mentality to just learn and grow and whatever, and it helped him, you know, get from where he was to where he is. And I just find that really intriguing. But you've been over there for a number of years. Like what do you see in like how kids are taught and brought along that maybe accounts for some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually playing professionally at like 14 years old in England. You know, a lot of people don't really know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was traveling Italy, France, Germany, Belgium.
Okay.
I ended up coming back over. Went to 5-star camp in Pittsburgh, and I got most outstanding player with LeBron. and Melvin Scott. I'm not sure if y'all remember him at UNC.
Okay.
Played with Raymond Felton.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I ended up going to Oak Hill Academy.
Okay.
Just to give you a little backstory, there's more, but the difference is over here, you have more resources. And when you're good at basketball, a lot of times the world treats you like royalty, and there's no accountability. So we become entitled, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't really know how to deal with the ups and downs that come with life and basketball and having to fit systems and hold conversations. And we don't want to be uncomfortable. And in order to get better, you have to become uncomfortable. Whereas in other places, Europe, Asia, even, a variety of countries in Africa, they feel more gratitude for being able to learn from people like myself or other coaches that are going over there, or like Giannis coming over here.
Yeah.
He has an insatiable desire to be better, to be great, and he's willing to be uncomfortable. And a lot of players here aren't really willing to be uncomfortable because they get their identity with not being uncomfortable, with being the guy.
I like that.
And it's tough.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
No, it does.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like he was saying, as far as the guys, no one's holding them accountable.
Right.
And I'm a lot older than probably everybody here.
Me too?
I'm 59.
You are. Good.
And like I say, and I was a football player, and it wasn't a matter if you were the best guy on the team when I was coming up or you were the worst guy on the team. You still got dogged just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I see guys who are the best, and they're like, they can miss 5 shots, and why didn't you set that screen for him?
Yeah.
Why didn't you block for him? He don't miss that.
Yeah.
So they're not held to the same standard as everyone else.
Right. Which I understand everybody doesn't have the same leash, but there does have to be more accountability over here when you talk about developing players. And I think for my program, when you think Iron Rainey School of Basketball, when you think Iron Rainey is, player development specialist, whether it's at the NBA level, at the youth level, that's one of the things that I pride myself on is genuine connection. Me being vulnerable, but also forcing guys to be vulnerable, because that's the only way we can grow, right? Being authentic and holding them accountable so that they can evolve into their full potential. Most people are just out here training guys, like just so they can post on social media or do, a drill that doesn't really translate into a game or not going to be something that they'll be able to utilize.
Right.
Whereas I'm actually developing the player holistically, which a lot of times parents don't necessarily like it, but it's real.
Right.
Kids may not necessarily like it, but it's real. So what will happen is I'll get a kid early on, and then it doesn't go right? And, I'll get a kid early on, challenge them, develop them as much as possible. The parents leave, go somewhere where it's a little more comfortable and fun, right? Well, we know basketball becomes more fun when you become better at it.
Right.
But if you're not being held accountable and you're doing things that you're never going to do in a game, but it's cool, you're going to feel better. And so then they come back their junior or senior year and say, can you help me? At that point, a lot of time it's too late.
For sure.
Or had they just gone through the process,
to be there.
they would get there. And even there's a lot of players, honestly, that have come to me early and, left and have actually done well for themselves for the most part, but not as good as they could have had they just gone through the total process, if that makes sense.
It does.
So you get an artificial sense of where you actually are.
Yeah, and I think that's that's got to be a difficult thing to see.
Yeah.
Because when you see somebody that you work with, that you kind of know what that potential could really look like, and it just kind of goes another way. It doesn't fully. It's like, gosh, they left something on the table there.
Right.
And if you're into development, if you're into seeing people maximize what they are, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Has
of
to
course.
be.
Of course. And I teeter-totter between like business and authenticity, because up to this point I've been like super authentic, right? When you're running a business, people want to feel good. And so it's a tough situation to be in, because it's like, okay, I know what you say you want. These are the things that you need, but you don't really want to go through it. So do I make the money?
Right.
Or do I actually get you the result?
Right.
And so it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to put some cones out there and tell kids to go tween behind them, spin move, like slide the cone on the, but punch the wall. But you know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Yeah, just not real.
But those trainers can't do that themselves.
Right. Well, they can punch the wall and yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How do you create vulnerability in a training setting?
To be honest with you, it just based on the scenario. So, for example, let's just say I'm training a NBA guy and they're so used to the standard of perfection when you can't really sustain that, right? And they miss a shot or two. The first thing that they do is what they're used to doing or what they think they're supposed to do. Normally it's anger, kick the ball, curse themselves out, hit themselves in the head with the ball, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I allow them to do it for a second, and I stop them in those moments of vulnerability, and I address what they're doing, but in a nicer way. So I basically ask them, you know, is that how you want to feel? Because at the end of the day, the goal for all of us, you all doing the podcast, Terry going to work every day, making money for his family, me being player development and human potential engineer, the goal is to be happy, right? When we make more shots, we consider ourselves happier. So we always need to be doing things and focusing on doing things and building the habits that lead us or align us to happiness.
Yeah.
And so in those moments when they miss shots, I allow them to think about something that they are ecstatic about or something that went well in their lives and have them go back to the same drill and talk me through it as they're shooting. Because to be able to sustain making a shot over and over and over again is unrealistic.
Right.
You're going to miss some shots. You're going to fuck up.
Yeah.
We're going to take Keith out of the game when it's not right.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of being a human. But when you learn to think about things that make you ecstatic, things that are positive, you end up having, you know, quicker breakthroughs and you end up being happier.
Yeah. Be more resilient to
be more resilient and achieving the outcomes that you truly want to achieve.
I like that.
That's
for
true.
sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, that's a good transition into Victor, man. Victor Wembanyama. Am I saying that right?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, Wembanyama. I still can't say it.
Wembanyama.
So it'll take me a year or two.
Victor.
Victor.
Wemby. They call Wemby.
They call him Wemby now. So he had his summer league debut, of course, and I mean, you know, we all know the hype and really just the overall sense of what he's supposed to be as a basketball player coming into the league, and you know, he had 9 points, 2 of 13 shooting, but he had 5 blocks and quite a few rebounds. I think 9 or 10 rebounds there. So, you know, did you guys see the game? What did you see?
I watched the game.
Do you think?
I saw the game.
Do you have a lower expectation now after seeing that game, or is it just one summer league game and you just throw it out the window?
I didn't get a chance to watch the game, but I mean, the kid is young. He's phenomenal, highly skilled. I think he does need to get stronger. Understand the pace of the NBA game. I know that's going to be a little bit different for him. I think as he learns and adds to his skill set and adds to his strength and gets used to the environment, I think he'll excel. But right now, I don't feel like us holding him to an unrealistic standard is fair to him.
Yeah, I watched the game. 2 of 13 shooting. That's just a bad shooting day. He didn't take terrible shots. He didn't necessarily take too many shots. He just didn't hit shots.
Right.
If he shoots, roughly 50%, he goes 7 for 13. That's another 10 points. 19 and whatever for the day. We're not talking about this in the same way that they are.
Right.
The two things that jumped out to me that were in somewhat problematic is he really did not have the ability to do much in the way of straight line driving. And what ended up happening for me is he would take the first step or two, get into the lane, and then he'd have to kind of go to like turn and pivot stuff, spin stuff. And he got, again, he's so tall, the ball's traveling so much.
Right.
He got tied up, bumped around, stuff like that.
Right.
And it was very difficult, I thought. On his post-ups, there were not a ton of post-ups, but I did feel like he was almost overcompensating in the sense that we know he's tall and skinny. I thought he kind of went to like shoulder bump back downs to maybe prove a point a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know that played to his strengths as to who he is. Those were the two most noticeable, like, I would say basketball specific things. he did pass the ball pretty darn well in transition and in half court. And I'm not here to say he's Jokic, but if I were looking at him and developing him, I see the ability to kind of operate from the high post or even the top as a bit of a passing hub, as something you would implement in time. But those were my takes on game one, but nothing to overreact about.
Nothing to overreact about.
Yeah, and I've seen him play many games. This past year he was with he played on the team with Barry Brown, a guy from St. Pete.
Yeah.
And I watched him play a lot this year. And last year he was on a team with Chris Warren.
He was on Chris Warren's team. I didn't
Chris
know
was
that.
on his team.
Okay.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was on a team with him, and I watched quite a few of their games. And he played about like I expected him to, because the NBA is a different game.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a much more physical game.
Right.
And they allow guys to, it's going to take an adjustment for him offensively.
Sure.
But he did rebound the ball. He
Yep.
did block shots. He didn't just get overwhelmed out.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd love to have him for TBT.
So if you ain't got nothing to do, Victor.
I'm not giving up on the net.
Yeah. You ain't got nothing to do, brother. We got a spot for you.
For sure.
Get some extra reps at the end of the month.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Good.
But I think that was my overall sentiment too. Just nothing to overreact to, man.
No.
I don't have any wide aspersions to cast after seeing that game. And Brandon Miller is a guy he's been struggling here and there. The guy that Charlotte took.
The one thing I want to add, the other thing, like the Spurs had the upper hand most of the game, and they had their summer league team was decent, and it wasn't a game that demanded him to do a whole lot more, or it wasn't that like his efforts like submarine the team. They won the game pretty comfortably.
Talking about Wemby.
Yeah, Wemby's team.
Yeah, for sure. What is something like a realistic expectation for him this season?
What, statistically or team?
It's tough to say.
Yeah,
honestly.
I would expect him to average in the teens for points, and I could see him averaging close to 10 rebounds, and he probably will be close to the league leaders in blocks. That just seems to come easy to him.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have that much of an impact his first year. Yeah. But I think he has the ability to be extraordinary long term.
Yeah.
So.
And the Spurs they're not a team that's sort of fully formed either. They have a lot of younger guys and some pieces. Yeah, it's tough to say.
They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's good stuff. Really quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code BubbaPink, and you'll be fly for this summer if you use promo code BubbaPink, and you get everything at a discount. All right, Royal13thebrand.com. All right, here. So, just moving back, or hold on, did I have something else here? I did not. So yes. Wanted to make sure. Moving back to the TNT here, the TBT, right? Moving back to the TBT. You guys can win it.
Absolutely.
That's and that's just baseline. You know, you guys can win it. How much communication do you guys have with your players? Being that you guys don't practice a lot, and is everybody on the same mindset, the same one band, one sound?
I would hope that everyone's on the same page. We communicate with those guys frequently.
Yep.
Even while they're overseas, they're getting text messages from me, and it's not, hey, what you doing? And then you're texting back and forth over the course of 6 hours. It's like, hey, call me.
Okay.
I want to talk to you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
for the most part, they call. It may be a day later, because sometimes the time difference is just.
I can vouch for that. I swear to God, any text message Terry has ever sent me has been literally call me.
Yeah.
Terry ain't got time to go text.
Yeah, I ain't got time to be texting back and forth over the course of the day,
That's
man.
so true.
Yeah.
Because we can have a 10-minute conversation that we might take us a day to do.
No, it's true though. That is true. Like you can get 10 minutes, everything's said. You're not texting for a day.
And I like to talk to guys. I like to get a feel for how they're feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell a lot about guys, you know, when they're when you can hear them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like just now, Shahid's finally home.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, he was still
He
overseas?
had a situation.
Yeah, he had
Oh,
a situation.
okay.
And, you know, I talked to him a number of times, you know, and, you know, there's one day I just told him, like, dude, the best thing for you to do is just to get home safely.
Yeah.
You know, and I could tell it was starting to weigh on him. Just, you can't tell that from texting.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. That's a
know.
good point.
So, but guys, for the most part, they understand where we're coming from.
Right.
You know, they understand what's expected of them. You know, they understand what we're trying to do. And if they don't, they're just not being honest with themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to expound on, Terry does a phenomenal job making sure guys are fully committed, you know, even before the TBT starts. Like during the entire year, he's communicating with them a ton.
Yeah.
And just making sure that they're all on the same page. More than myself, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So he does a great job with that, just to give him some credit for something.
Nah, relationships are powerful things, man. Give him some credit for something.
Yeah.
I was trying to be authentic there, and you guys got joke time going, but all good. But I would just say, like, relationships are powerful things, and
For
if
sure.
you put the time in to build them, you know, you're more often than not going to reap the reward of that.
For sure.
Could you guys list the team of confirmed guys?
Yes.
Go ahead, Terry.
Yes. Okay. As of right now, let's go with our bigs. Keith Clanton, Deshaun Stevens, Selim, Jonathan Holton, Mark Eddy, Shahid Davis. Those are our bigs. Our big guards are Nevin Glover.
Okay, so Niven is on the team. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, Nevin's on the team. Marvell Harris, Fletcher McGee.
Brandon.
Fletcher's gotten so much better.
Oh, he's maturing.
He played for us 2 weeks ago. I enjoyed it.
I mean, because we all know he can shoot. He's expanding.
He's working out with Seth Curry like 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right
But-
now, I got him. He's different.
Here we go.
Looking
Niven, Marvell, Fletcher, Brandon Robinson. Those are our big guards. And Kenny Boynton, Chris Warren.
Yeah.
So that's a 12-man roster?
Yeah, but I feel we're missing somebody.
I think we are too. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. No, I know. Don't worry about it. We got it.
You got it.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Who are you most excited to see in this in this year on this team? Whether it could be a returning player, it doesn't matter. But who are you most excited to?
I gotta be
To watch
objective,
with.
so I can't really.
So,
I just want
that's
to
true.
win.
That's true.
I want guys to
Yeah.
perform, feel good, but I want
Yeah.
to win.
right.
Yeah.
So
You know, it's hard to single out any one particular guy.
right.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause,
I
mean,
noted a certain bit of excitement when you were talking about Deshaun, though.
Yes, Deshaun is
That
going
sounded
to,
crazy, Pink. By the way, that sounded crazy. You know Terry from Westwood, he a little different. You know what I'm saying?
I'll move over.
He started biting his lip. And, go ahead. Back to Terry being excited about.
You know,
Deshaun.
when we go and we win this $1 million, if Iron doesn't make it back, yeah,
That sounded crazy.
Deshaun, I believe, is going to be, like Iron said, a game changer for us.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we throw a lot on Keith's shoulders.
Pause.
Yeah, we throw a lot on Keith's shoulders, and I believe Deshaun is going to take a lot of that pressure off of him.
What?
What's wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you?
I just don't know
You
what
having one of your moments?
No, I just don't know what we're talking about. I just want to make sure we're still talking basketball, personally.
Yeah, we're talking.
I know how you get Terry at nighttime. They say the freaks come out at night.
Freaks come out at night.
What time is it? Yep. Right at 7 o'clock. Now we 9 minutes in.
Oh, jeez.
So what's
man.
happening?
What?
What? Can you repeat that?
Terry needs a 30-second
Yeah.
timeout.
So what we doing? Keep
Oh
showing
yeah. Terry got something for you.
Of course he do.
Tournament like structure wise. So will you play like 2 games in the West Virginia venue and then it goes
3.
to a new venue? 3? Okay.
It's gonna be
4.
4.
Well, you'll have the 3 games that will be for the West Virginia Regional Championship.
Okay.
Then the very next game will be against the Syracuse Regional Champion. That game is also going to be in West Virginia.
Oh,
I didn't know
okay.
that.
So we're going to be playing 4 games
In West
in
Virginia.
West Virginia.
And then where's the Final Four this year?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay.
Philly.
Cool.
One of my last questions is, why did it go from 2 million to 1 million? Why is this? Do anyone of y'all know?
Well, there's the reason that we're given and the reason that you think. And during the COVID year, there was a lot of protocols put in place that cost a lot of money,
Right.
according to what they're saying. So they dropped it down to 1 million. So you would think that, okay, after that's over, it would go back to 2.
Right.
But it never did.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember telling, I was actually talking with another GM, and I told him at that point when they said it was going to only be $1 million, I said it'll never go back to 2.
Which is weird because I participated in the TBT a couple years before. I think maybe year 2, year 3 of it,
Yes.
and like the feeling then was like, yeah, how much could this pot go? I mean, if the TV takes off and people
Right.
start watching it,
Yeah.
why can't it get to maybe 3 or 4 or 5 million? But yeah, it's kind of funky. But I do feel like it's a little bit skewed because I'm a basketball guy and I talk to basketball people that we watch this.
Right.
But I do feel that it's got some consistent recognition now.
Oh,
It's been
for
around
sure.
long enough
It's growing.
that you'd probably think some of the TV dollars are better than they were certainly 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So
Well, let me tell you, you guys all know business, and you never say, we're doing wonderful.
right.
We're doing great. We're just printing money. They're never going to say that.
Yeah, true.
It's always going to be, we're not making any money. We're not doing this. We're not doing that.
We're doing this for free.
Yeah. So
We're actually losing money.
I'm not in their pockets. I'm not seeing their books, so therefore I can't really say.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
What do you guys want to leave us with here, man? With this year's tournament right around the corner here, and it's officially, like you said, that's basically almost 3 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
the 20. Yeah,
25th will
The
be our
25th.
first game.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it is less than 3 weeks before we're tipping off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We leave for West Virginia on the 22nd.
Okay.
I can just say for everyone, pray for us.
All right.
Send us your support. Give us your support. We need it. We need it. It's something we look forward to. Myself, Iron, my other guy, Travis. We look forward to this, and we feel once again that we've put together a really good team that has an excellent shot at bringing this thing back to Florida.
Right.
Love it.
You know,
Behind you guys 100%, man.
Thanks
Really want
so
you
much. We
guys to win.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
It means
for
a
sure.
ton.
For sure.
For sure.
appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you guys. Well, that has been On the Bench. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
We're out.